Hello, everybody, and welcome to Early Access Podcast, episode 21. We are of legal drinking age. Yes. Yes. Welcome. Yeah, drinking age. That was me drinking wine. If you're not watching the stream, you didn't see me do it. But yes, we are of legal drinking age. Thank you, everybody, for sticking with Early Access Podcast until now. I appreciate it. I do. It was hard to start this website from nothing, and the podcast and the YouTube and everything from nothing, and here we are. We're over 3 months into it. Over 600 people have downloaded this podcast so far. So I appreciate each and every one of you. And don't forget, check out earlyaccesspodcast.com. Check out Early Access Podcast on YouTube. Follow me on Early Access PC on Twitter. And go like the Facebook page, Early Access Podcast on Facebook. So we're going to jump right into what I've been playing. And I played a couple games since the last episode. And I have played the game Crystal Rift. So this is the first game I played. And Crystal Rift is a grid-based dungeon puzzle game. Now, I know I mentioned it before, because it came up in the coming soon recently. So I got a copy of it from them, and I played it. Now, let me preface this by saying that Crystal Rift was designed from the ground up for the Oculus. So it was designed for the Oculus DK2 and DK1, which is the first and second versions of their at-home beta Oculus Rifts that they put out. Now, I don't have one, which is unfortunate. However, I used it, I played it without it. It's a decent game. It's what you expect. It's a grid base, so you move one block at a time. It's fun if you have an Oculus. I cannot recommend this game if you don't have an Oculus. It's a fun puzzle game. The music's good. The atmosphere is great. However, it just doesn't work unless you have an Oculus. I understand what they were going for. However, I wrote the Steam review with the caveat that you have an Oculus. I feel like it would be a lot better if you have an Oculus. You'll get a lot more out of it. As a single-player, non-Oculus experience, I don't think you're going to get the same gameplay out of it. It's also expensive for an early access game. It's $24.99. It's currently 15% off. It's $21.24 right now at 15% off. So if you have an Oculus, if you picked up the beta of the Oculus Rift, check it out, because there's not a whole bunch of Oculus games right now. So this is one of the few that are out there, and I think they've done a really good job. The textures are great. The game looks really good. I just cannot recommend it unless you have an Oculus. So if you have an Oculus, go check it out. If you don't check it out. I don't know what to tell you. If you want to play a first-person puzzle game and you have the Oculus, I would totally check it out. I think the biggest hindrance is the $25 entry fee. If it was, say, $10 or less, preferably less, I would say if they made it $8, I would recommend checking it out if you didn't have an Oculus. But most of us don't have an Oculus, and there is a non-Oculus version, so hopefully they drop the price, or you get a little better deal than 15%. But if you don't have an Oculus, it's just not worth it. So let's jump into the next game I've been playing. Next game I've been playing is this game called Slinky. Now, Slinky, you play a robotic bunny rabbit, and the rabbit has his right arm. You can throw it like a boomerang, and you can teleport to it. It's a side-scrolling platformer game. Now, I just got done playing this. I literally just put the video up hours before starting this podcast. Now, Slinky is beneficially for them $5. It just came out on the 15th. Today is the 22nd. This will go up on the 23rd. So, we're talking about a week, and it's a lot of fun. This game is hard. It's got a great mechanic. The boomerang teleport arm works really well. I don't have any complaints about that. I do have some complaints about Slinky, the game itself, though. So my biggest complaints are, and if you want to read these, you can read them over at the website where I put the review up. But I will tell you now. So there is a animal sound effect in the background that really irritates the shit out of me. It sounds like a seal or something. Not a fan of it at all. I really wish they would take it out. Actually, for the first few minutes of the podcast, I thought there was a dog outside my window. It's just distracting, to say the least. The other problems I had with the game was the fact that when you're walking, you're a rabbit, so you shouldn't be walking. However, it just the movement is so slow. I understand the game wants you to move quickly, between the jumping, because you're a rabbit, you jump, you bounce, and the slingshot off of the boomerang with the throwing of your arm. I punched my desk. So I understand that they want to keep the pace, but when you're not using any of those abilities, the character moves super slow. There's a problem with the mouse leaving the screen. The screen is not restrained to the window, which makes it problematic because you end up clicking off a lot. But I realize that's fixed by using a controller. So that was something that I didn't realize at first, and then I picked up afterwards. So if you use a controller, it gets rid of a lot of those minor problems with clicking off the screen, and there's some menu problems with not being able to select the right menu option. But that's because you're trying to use a mouse and this weird wheel selection tool, which doesn't work. Now, the biggest problem I have with this game is the fact that it has a problem with the tracking. So what happens is that the screen will pop up and kiss the bottom of the feet of the character. Now, normally that wouldn't be a problem, except that this game is a puzzle game and a platformer, and it's side-scrolling, so you need to see where you're jumping. So what happens is you'll jump, the screen will suck up right to the bottom of the character's feet, and you can't see where you're landing, which is a very big problem. With that said, I recommend it. Go check it out. Go check out the video on my YouTube channel, see if it's something that you're into. It's a side-scrolling platformer, so if you like those kinds of games, for the $4.99 price tag, I cannot really turn you away. I think the price point's right. I think the mechanic is fun. The pace is quick enough once you get going and you start, teleport. No, it's not teleporting. Once you start boomeranging yourself around the maps, I think it's very well done, and I think most people will enjoy it. So I would totally recommend checking it out for the low price point that they have. All right, so a couple other games came out this week. Let me select my date of birth. No, I know that's not right. So Killing Floor 2 came out. Now, if you haven't played Killing Floor before Killing Floor 2, it is a first-person shooter. Let me skip through this a little bit. By Tripwire Entertainment, or is it Entertainment? Interactive, sorry. Tripwire Interactive. It's a first-person shooter. It's super over the top. It's crazy violent. these games are great. I reach out to these guys. They said they didn't have a review process for early access, which kind of is disappointing. It's very positive with 2,000 plus reviews, 94% positive. It's $30 though. That's the thing. It's just like they didn't want me to review it, or they don't have like a plan in place for early access reviews. But you're gonna put your early access at $30. I understand this is a sequel, and I understand the first game did really well, but it's kind of hard for me to recommend a game that isn't sending out early access reviews of their game. I understand it's super positive, but for $30 in early access, it's hard to recommend this game. If you like the first one, I'm sure the $30 is no problem, but for the early access / indie part of this, it's hard for me to look at a game that costs $30 and recommend it. So, if you like the Killing Floor games, go check it out. But I don't know much about it. Our next game that came out the 21st. It's right now it's $17.99. It's usually $20. It's 10% off right now. It's Trine 3. It is Trine 3: The Artifacts of Power. Now, if you haven't played any of the Trine games, Trine is a puzzle series. The first couple were super indie. Specifically, the first one was super indie. I wasn't able to find any contact information to try to get a review copy for this game. So I don't know what to tell you about it, other than the fact that Trine 3 is Trine 3. If you like puzzle games, if you like the interactive stuff about Trine, if you play the other ones, you pick your characters, you move around. Let's see, is this one co-op? Yeah, it's co-op like the other ones. So I would check it out if you like the previous ones. Again, the price point is high. It's got 119 reviews with 93% positive, so I have to imagine it's as good as the previous ones. So if you like the previous Trine games, I would check this out. Especially at less than $20, even though $20 is a little bit high for me, I would still check it out. So the next game is called Counterspell. Now, Counterspell came out yesterday. It's $4.99, which is my favorite price point aside from free. This is a role-playing stealth shooter. It says single-player, multiplayer, co-op, competitive multiplayer. So it looks like a building. No, it's an open-world sandboxy spell-slinging game, Minecraft style. Just like a clone of a clone of a clone, looking for your money. I haven't played it, but for $5. It might be worth checking out. It's positive. It has 2 reviews. They're both over 100%. But it seems like a lot of this has to do with multiplayer, and two reviews isn't a lot to really make you feel good about that multiplayer. So if you want to check it out, check it out. I'm going to try to play it. If I don't, I apologize. But it is what it is. All right. So we're going to jump in the reviews now. I'm just going to point out some of these games just came out. So this game is the Next Penelope. I spoke about it previously on one of the most recent podcasts. It just came out. It's got 55 reviews now, 96% positive. It's $9.99 on Steam. It's in early access. It's a top-down shooter. I pushed it out there because I wanted people to pick it up because of the fact that it's a top-down shooter, but the whole solo campaign is available. They added some stuff. They added, let's see, it's available for Windows, Mac, and Linux, which Ubuntu specifically, it says. They also released the soundtrack, and that seems what this update's for. So go check that game out if you're into top-down racing twin-stick shooters. That's what it kind of seems like. The game Nyteblayde also had a review. I mean, update. Nyteblayde is $10 on Steam. It's $9.99. This is their third update in only like a week and a half or so. Let's see, what did they add? They added some weapons and some boosts and some... no idea. I haven't played the game yet. 2 new 1v1 maps. Some new music. Yeah, a couple other things. But the game just came out. It's a real-time strategy game that just came out. Yeah, it's $10. Pick it up if you like real-time strategy games. Let's see. What else do I got here for you? All right, so Toxxic had another update. I'm not going to read all the patch notes. But Toxxic was the game. Let's see, what did it... New features, skill class system, new HUD weapon bar, enhanced server launcher. So they're doing work on their game. Toxxic is the game that reminds me of like the 2004 or 2003 Unreal Tournament. It's that kind of paced first-person shooter. They've been doing a lot of work. This update indicates that as much. It came out in January this year, end of January. 1,100-ish reviews, 90%. It is $18.99, which is still a little expensive in my opinion, but you can check it out if you want to. All right, so the last review I got is Fallen A2P Protocol. Now, I did a review of this game. I love this game. It's a turn-based strategy game along the lines of XCOM. They added a female main character that you can be now. They're only 2 weeks in. They added a couple other things like Steam trading cards. They fixed some bugs. They added some new weapons. This game is still super promising. I liked this game when I played it. It's $14.99. It's only got 16 reviews, which is all positive, 100% positive out of 16. I recommend going and playing this game, especially if you like the turn-based strategy games like XCOM. If you do, go check this out. It's a lot of fun. It's original. They're working on it. They're trying very hard to make it its own game. And I think it's got a lot of promise for the future. So, with that, that is going to do it for episode 21 of Early Access Podcast. This is our inaugural drinking age episode. And I might be a little drunk this episode. But, it happens. But as usual, I want to thank you guys for coming out. I want to thank you for listening to Early Access Podcast and encourage you to check out earlyaccesspodcast.com, youtube.com Early Access Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Early Access PC. Find my Patreon at Early Access Podcast on Patreon. Like us on Facebook at Early Access Podcast. And don't forget to click through the banner at earlyaccesspodcast.com. It helps me out. And it supports the show. It doesn't cost you anything else. And it is what it is. It kicks back a little bit to the show. But thank you again for coming out. And until next time, I will see you on Monday.